Hi there, everyone. This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here in beautiful Acapulco. And I am joined right now by the one and only Milo Yiannopoulos. So, first of all, thank you for taking a bit of time to speak with us today.
You're welcome. You're so
welcome.
welcome.
I just caught your speech. Excellent talk. We recorded it, so we'll be putting that out there. What do you think of the conference, first of all, so far? How are you liking it? How's it been going so far?
Well, it's tough to be miserable in Acapulco, so I'd be very happy whatever was happening. I find the ANCAP movement, anarcho-capitalism, a very necessary counterbalance to the kind of people that I write about. So I write a lot about social justice warriors, the feminists, the people who believe that the state should have purchase not just on most of our lives, but it seems like on all of it. They want, the presence of government at its tentacles, regulating our sex lives, regulating our speech, regulating our finances, regulating anything. And I don't want most of those things. I haven't entirely taken the plunge yet and gone over to the dark side, but I do find that the more reporting that I do, the more I realize that the government really is not a good, not a force for good in most aspects of life. So, go ahead.
It seems like a lot of this is stemming from maybe a change in the curriculum in the universities. It seems like a lot of these kids are turning into these safe space kids and feminists. What do you think? Has there been a change in the educational system, or what else may be a contributing factor to this PC world?
Well, what happened in the 60s and 70s were the campus radicals, who were, to their credit, great free speech activists. They were in favor of offensive speech because they recognized that offensive speech was an engine of progressive progress. It got us gay rights, got women the vote, it got, ended slavery, all this kind of stuff, right? Their children sort of forgot about that as they became the establishment, as they became, the people running things. They forgot that free speech is what got them there in the first place, and freedom is what got them there in the first place. And their children and their children's children, the modern social justice contingent, have never really been told no. They've been fed this sort of diet of, safe space, trigger warning, no one will disagree with you, and if they do, they've traumatized you, and some authority has to step in to stop them. And most of the time, that looks like the government, or it looks like their colleges or their universities. As more of a, entrepreneurial kind of person, I find that difficult, I think, to fathom. The good news is that these people are quite a minority. I mean, they're very vocal, very powerful minority, but they're only, 10% of people who actually believe in this stuff. So I'm happy to be here because this is as I say, a very necessary and very exciting kind of two fingers up to the people I think are the worst, the most pernicious influence in American public life.
Well, a lot of those people are on all of the social media networks and very openly broadcasting themselves to the world, and then getting essentially offended that somebody's
back.
Yeah.
Well, I call it quantum superstate feminism. They exist sort of simultaneously as aggressor and victim. They're throwing shit over the wall, and then they cry foul when they get some back. It's the worst kind of cry bully, offense-taking grievance culture out there. These professional provocateurs who go out there, say outrageous things about other people, and then can't cope with the response. And even worse than that, appeal to authority to make the other person go away or to punish the other person.
Now, you were also covering the Gregory Allen Elliott case a little bit. How did you come onto that case? And, I mean, what do you think of it in a nutshell now that it's essentially been ruled he's not guilty? Thank God.
Yeah, thank God he's not guilty. I mean, if he had been found guilty, we would be living in a world where you could be incarcerated for disagreeing with people on the internet. It's really that simple. The free speech implications for that are they're just mind-blowing, like jaw-dropping stuff. That what the state was effectively saying is, these are the people you are allowed to disagree with on the internet, and these are the protected class of people you're not allowed to disagree with on the internet. And of course, surprise, surprise, the people you're not allowed to disagree with on the internet are the people who want the state to be bigger and more powerful. It's such a relief that verdict came back. But of course, they're not happy, and they're going to be bringing many more prosecutions in the future on just these same sort of things. It has now become professionally dangerous to disagree with some people on the internet. I find that horrifying.
Well, I do too, and I think that the kids that are putting this together are, they're going to be the future lawyers and policemen and judges. So how do we counterbalance this? How do we break through the propaganda and try to educate the youth moving forward? What would you like to see happen in the coming weeks and months in regards to stopping this movement?
Well, the good news, as I say, is that social justice warriors are in the minority, and the more the public finds out about them, the more the public really don't like them very much. And the best thing I think to do is make a lot of noise. Talk about this stuff. explain with, calmly, with facts and with reason why if they do it to them, tomorrow it could be you. Anybody could fall foul to this stuff, to this incredible language policing and thought policing that is happening now. And it used to sound a little bit like a right-wing conspiracy theory when you said, the progressives are running everything, and they run the universities, they run the media, they run everything. It's now incontrovertibly true that if you step outside a narrow prescribed band of opinions, what we call the Overton window, that you could not just experience social censure, but run the risk of the state coming after you and coming after you for your liberty. The best way to fight that is to put pressure on politicians to remind them that free speech really, really matters, and the freedom and liberty of the individual to conduct his own affairs, whether it's financial, sexual, or in any other way, with precisely as he pleases, without interference from other people, is the basis on which the United States was founded. It is the basis on which most of the best countries in the world, at least largely, operate. And the important thing, I think, is just to remind politicians that the social justice warriors do not represent the rest of us. And these, crazy people who want to regulate what we can say and what we can think and what we can do about race, sexuality, gender, all this kind of stuff, by and large, they're very damaged people. By and large, they are, their arguments don't stand up to scrutiny. They do not make evidence-based claims. And if we make as much noise as possible about the injustices that they perpetrate, hopefully politicians will begin to realize that this is not a way to proceed and not a way to get votes. Because right now, they're thinking, oh, well, if I virtue signal about the right thing about women, if I say the right thing about feminism, I'll get into office. Increasingly, I think, the rise of people like Donald Trump shows this, the electorate disagrees.
Well, you've challenged these people in a great way, and one way by launching the scholarship for white privileged males. Tell us a little bit about that, and what was the thought behind that one?
Well, I call it the Yiannopoulos Privilege Grant, and it's an example of how the facts don't fit what the media is telling you. Now, one of the most educationally underprivileged groups in the world, in the West, particularly in the UK and also in the US, is poor young white men. They're the group that everybody likes to beat up on. They call them rapists and man babies and misogynists. They are public enemy number one if you believe what you read in the media. But actually, some of these people are really suffering. So, nobody can resist the truth wrapped in a good joke, which is what I try to do in my columns. But also, if you can do good while annoying the worst people in the world, that's pretty much the best job you can have. And that's the job I have. And this privilege grant is another example of that. It is evidence-based help for people who actually need it versus the untruths and propaganda that you'll read in the media about who really needs help in America.
Well said. You've been doing a fantastic job at raising awareness on these issues. For the viewers at home who maybe want to learn more from you, find out where they can go, what are the links and where do they go to follow your work?
You can find me on Twitter for as long as I'm allowed to have an account there, which is @Nero, like the Emperor. You can look me up on YouTube, and my columns are at Breitbart.com. I'm the technology editor of Breitbart News, so we run stuff about feminism, social justice, technology, internet culture, and various other things that have to do with free speech and liberty.
Fantastic. Milo Yiannopoulos, thanks for talking to us. Keep up the great work.
Thanks so much.